Hi everyone, welcome back to my podcast. I'm Em. This episode is going to be about Legacies, Season 4, Episode 14 and 15. And G and C are special guests again, so let's get started.
So, with the gods, I'm still, not sure how to feel with that storyline.
It's so confusing.
They think they're going to win. They're not. Well, actually, I don't think they do think they're going to win, but they're really not. I feel bad for saying this. They don't have a chance. No. Maybe Hope does.
I love Lizzie and Aurora's dynamic.
Oh, I do too. It's so interesting.
I love them now. Both of them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've always loved Lizzie, but Aurora, lately, I just been loving her.
Yeah, she's better now.
Yeah.
I still haven't forgiven her for some of the stuff she's done, but
very true.
It's okay.
It's fine.
What else happened in episode 14?
Oh, she had the meltdown where she almost turned her humanity off, and then she was like, "Take me out," and then Alaric snapped her neck, which I still don't get because he was literally in a cane. So
that was funny.
I'm so upset with him.
Right?
What was the point?
I wanted them to just, if they hadn't taken her out, I don't really think she would have killed them. I think if they hadn't taken her out, she would have just turned it on, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
The call at the end, I was so sad when I found out it was Rebecca. I thought it was Josie, and I was so upset when in 4:15, Rebecca was like, "Oh yeah, I talked to Alaric," and I was like, no, because I wanted it to be Josie calling Alaric, and it wasn't, and I was just devastated.
I really think Brett, or I don't even know his name, but he changed it and said it was him. Why would Rebecca talk to MG? Isn't that what someone said?
Yeah, what? That doesn't make any sense.
It's not. I 100% think whoever did that episode, it was Josie, but Brett wanted to change it.
Okay, but that's the thing, because I saw tweets about this in the past, and everyone was saying that I think Julie ships Hosey. I'm really not sure though. But one of the writers, every time there was a Hosey storyline, then Brett would go in. Someone wrote where when in season 2, when Hope helped Josie turn into herself instead of Dark Josie, and then in season 3, Finch turned her back into regular Josie with a kiss, and everyone was like, "Oh, the writers just it was Brett's fault because he just redoes everything." Everything Hosey accomplishes, Brett just pretends it doesn't happen. I don't know. Yeah. I saw something like that.
I saw that too. Yeah, I think Brett changed it or something, because why would Rebecca talk to MG? That's no.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't even think she knows he exists. In my mind, it's Josie, because that's the only logical answer.
Yeah.
And when she was having her breakdown, I looked up for a sec. It looked like she poked herself in the eye. That was my only thought throughout that whole scene. She wiped her tears and looks like she stabbed herself in the eye. I'm like, geez, that's commitment. I'd be done.
I think my favorite line from that episode was you hope being you should stop talking to yourself. People are gonna think you're crazy. I was just okay.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. I think, some people will kind of think, yeah, if you do talk to yourself, I think some people think, but you never know what's going on.
Yeah.
I think if you're a no humanity tribrid who lost everyone close to her, then I don't think most people would think any of that was normal, but I don't know.
I mean, yeah. That is true.
When I saw MG and Lizzie in the same room,
girl, I died.
I cried so hard. My dad was...
I think I was ranting to you about that, because they touched. I'll take it.
They hugged.
I know. I was on cloud 9. It's I won the lottery.
When they hugged, I was literally freaking out.
I know.
That's a miracle.
It's the crumbs we take.
Right. He was literally I can't fight Lizzie, even if she's on the other side. Lizzie walks in.
I don't even remember him saying that because I was distracted.
No, but I was
remember her walking in.
I was literally writing down as Lizzie came in, and I was like, a Mizzy love confession would be amazing. Like, MG just needs to tell her he loves her at this point.
I think Lizzie knows that. I think Lizzie's the one who needs to tell him. Yeah. Really.
That's true. That she's ready. They were so close, though. In season 3, they were so close. And then I don't even remember what happened.
Don't even get me started on that. She knows how upset I got over that.
There was one moment in episode 15 where Alaric was using the prism to talk to his old self. And I just wanted to like scream, because I was like, 2 Alarics in one scene is enough. 2 Matts in one scene is enough as any of us can take. Please stop.
Yes. I don't know if I'm gonna like this new him. I already hate him enough.
Yeah.
I can't decide which is worse. Old alcoholic vampire hunter Alaric, or new Alaric that prioritizes Hope over his own kids.
Exactly.
And now doesn't even like Hope.
He needs to go to therapy. Like, maybe the therapist will be a killer and kill him.
Oh my gosh,
it would be a miracle.
I mean, I'm just rewatching Vampire Diaries, and in season 2, after Jenna died, there was like barely any grieving. Like, they had a funeral and that was it. Just like, Jenna's dead. Okay, moving on. So weird.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Like
2 people died, and she was just like, oh, one sad day. All right, Damon's dying now. Moving on.
Whoa.
I mean, you got a point there. I didn't really get that. And like, to be fair, I only really paid attention to like the original scenes.
Yeah.
This episode, because I was like about to cry over everyone being there.
Speaking of which, I saw all these comments on YouTube, and then I stopped because people were just being annoying. And everyone was like, either saying, like, comparing Klaus and Hope, which is like good if they're comparing them in a good way. But they kept saying that like Hope was worse than Klaus. And then I saw something that said, no, Klaus was worse than Hope, because Klaus killed people without his humanity on. Because like he just, which like with his humanity on. Like Hope turned her humanity off, and Klaus killed a lot of people with his humanity on, which makes Klaus worse than Hope. But I don't know. Like, Hope is more dangerous, but Klaus was worse.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know what people, like, if you're gonna compare people in a bad way, just don't do it. It's really not that hard.
Agreed.
Especially, like, of course, I know it's characters and stuff, but, like, what bothers me is people do it to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the actors and actresses, too. I'm like, oh.
I sent a video to Em about Riley, I forget her last name, doing a Q&A for Legacies. And one of the questions was, can you confirm Josie has been calling Freya 24/7? And Riley said, yes, I can confirm that. But Josie and Freya are so alike, though. I don't even know how. I just feel like they are.
I see that. I wish Josie was in this episode to, like, so we could see, of course, more of her and Freya than her with everyone else.
Or at least a mention of her. She deserved a mention. There was also this one thing about, like, Lizzie just getting a large bag and then just, like, accepting that and, like, forgetting about Josie. Like, where are the cell phones? Why can't anyone call Josie?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, especially because they don't mention like a lot of people who had like big parts of the shows and like who have things to do with like what's going on. They don't mention them a lot, and it like really is upsetting. Like, did they mention Haley? I forgot.
What do you mean?
Like in this episode? Did like they say something?
Yeah,
anything about
yeah. They mentioned her a few times. I thought they were mentioning her a few too many times. I also have a theory that Hope is still grieving, and it feels like no one else is. Like maybe Freya a bit, but it still feels like they've all moved on. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Of course, I think Hope's of course still grieving. Like she had to. Well, she watched her mom die. Actually, no, she did not, because she was asleep or in a spell. So technically she didn't, but she was in that presence. But it like was like she lost them like so close, like not close together, like in like a same kind of period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And then Elijah too. And Elijah,
I forgot about him.
I forgot about him too. And then they mentioned Elijah, and I was like, oh right, I forgot about him. Oops,
I forgot he died.
Same.
And I love him, so it's really upsetting that I forgot about that. And like, I was of course really happy that they like brought up Davina, said something about Davina. I was very upset she wasn't there.
Right? What could be more important than being there to help Hope? Like seriously.
I mean, probably the actress couldn't come.
That's true, but the excuse
Probably
for
filming.
Davina, they didn't even say an excuse. They were just like, Davina couldn't come. She was really sad.
And they said we're going to be better at visiting, so hopefully, like, Davina shows up at one point.
I hope she does.
I know.
I love her and Cole as well, and I want to see them together.
I was so disappointed. Like, I think seeing this episode made me realize how little Hope's family is there for her. Like, her parents died 2 years ago, and her uncle, and Landon, and then she lost Josie. And none of her family has been here during this time. Like, Rebecca was there a few episodes ago, but still, for like literally one episode. Freya was there, I think, once in Legacies at the end of an episode, and then she was there when Hope transitioned. But other than that, like, her family has been like always and forever, like, we'll support you. But where have they been?
They've never.
When her whole family died.
Like, they were never like physically there when she
That's true.
It was like hard times.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's on purpose or like they kept saying like, we meant to do it. And I'm like, what? Were you just like procrastinating? Like, she's your only niece, your favorite niece, as you keep saying. Why won't you make time for her? I don't know. I was very pissed.
Like, my expectations were so high for this episode because like everyone was back. I will say they did not meet my expectations, but I was really happy they at least brought up Haley once because they like never do.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Because I remember like Hope once said, "I'm the daughter of Klaus." I'm like, what about Haley?
Right,
like, girl.
You forget about Haley.
Like, why don't you ever bring that poor girl up?
I have a theory.
I mean, I would probably cry, but still, I would like her to be brought up more.
Okay, but Marcel, when he said like him and Rebecca were married, I don't remember them getting married. When did they get married?
They got engaged at the end of the season, at the end of the series.
You have Hope and her humanity like fighting against each other, like literally and emotionally. And then I came up with the fact that maybe that's Haley and they just haven't exactly said it. But I don't know, because like Hope's humanity is literally fighting against her no humanity. So I think that that's parts of Haley and they haven't exactly mentioned it. I don't know. That's just my theory.
That's a good theory. Oh my gosh. I would never have thought of that.
Thank you. I don't know. I'm really weird with like the parallel stuff. Like, I have to be worth that. And then I was like, and then in my mind, I could hear her saying in the originals, I'm supposed to be worth it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Because it was just like, I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I felt like a lot of growth had been done because now she was basically saying that she was worth it. And I was like, oh. Wait, didn't it turn on? Because I thought at the end of the episode, Humanity Hope won. And then No Humanity was like, hey, wait, I want to come back. Like, I'm going to keep fighting you, even though No Humanity Hope died. The funeral was so disappointing. It wasn't even a real funeral. They didn't even like say, I mean, I guess they did already tell stories about him, but they were like, the whole episode was supposed to be about his funeral. And then they mentioned him like 2 times.
Literally though.
And it just doesn't make sense though, because New Orleans hated him. They literally hated him because he killed so many people. They were terrified of him. Why would they throw a funeral for him? Jen, I just love her so much.
I don't know how to feel about Ben. I'm so conflicted.
I know.
I knew it was going to happen. People were saying it on Twitter. And I'm like, oh no, I have faith that he will not do this to me. And of course he did.
I didn't like him. I mean, like, I liked him and Jed, but something seemed off, to be honest.
Yeah, something seemed off with me too, but I really just wanted Jed to be happy. I wanted him to get
I
some love.
love
I was like,
Jed
oh,
so much. I didn't like him in the beginning of the show, and now I love Jed.
I did too, and he's gonna get hurt.
He's so. But Ben gives off of like weird vibes. Like you can.
Right?
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna. I think at the end of the season, if it doesn't get renewed, like I think with the end, if it doesn't get renewed, I think either way, there will be a battle of against the gods. But if they don't get renewed, they're gonna kill the people. They're gonna actually kill them.
So another thing that really pissed me off was they were acting like Hope was really weak. And then I got on this other YouTube video and it was talking about how they put so much pressure on Hope to be like the savior of the family. Like they literally named her Hope. And they put so much pressure on her because she was supposed to be the good one out of all of them because they were all like horrible people. I mean, yeah. I mean, they're not the greatest people. I mean, they're not actually people, but whatever, you know what I mean. So they were all like, oh, like Hope's gonna be the savior, like she has to be better than all of us. And then when she turned it off, they like got really pissed at her because they were like she was supposed to be the strong like one of them and like just be like better than them all. And they just put too much pressure on her. So like that made more sense to turn it off because her family pressure was weighing on her. I don't know if that makes sense, but they put a lot of stress on her and made her feel like a burden, I feel like. So
yeah, that makes sense. I agree with that.
Yeah. And when she turned it off, they were all like, oh, like we never turned it off. Like we're so perfect. We never turned it off. And I was just like, okay, but you've done horrible things too. Like she lost so many people and her family wasn't there for her. So that was kind of her only option at the time. And like, yeah. So, I mean, there were other options, but her family saying that they would have helped her is just a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's not weak. Hope isn't weak, I don't think, for turning it off. No. Yeah, they mentioned Nick and Haley a lot, but also not enough. Like they mentioned them like all at once in like 5 sentences, and then they just stopped for the rest of the episode. And I don't know. I felt like they were just like I know they're trying to turn it off, but I mean turn it back on. Keep mixing it up. They're trying to turn Hope's humanity on, but it just felt like they were kind of being mean to Hope, and they weren't being as like I don't know compassionate as they should be. I just feel like I'm like the biggest Hope defender ever, and I feel like no one's been really nice to Hope. And maybe it's just because I'm just so used to Josie being really, really nice to Hope, but they're not being very nice anymore. I don't know. The point system, I love that coming back. That was so great. When she was little, like she kept track of all the good things and bad things she did and like earned her points and stuff. And that was like a very big plot for a few episodes, and then they brought it back, and I kind of liked that.
But yeah, I love that, and I love her and Marcel's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcel looked good.
I know,
right?
Oh, he aged like so well. Like I know he's like 30 or something, but still, dang,
looks good.
He's always looked good, to be fair, but still.
Marcel and Rebecca have my heart.
They're so cute. Oh my gosh.
Marcel called Rebecca baby, and I like died. I melted. Oh my god, what? Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, they're like perfect, and I'm happy Rebecca got her like happy-ish ending.
Right.
She doesn't have a kid, so it's not really there yet. But
so what I think is going to happen, well, I was really upset with when she turned it on because Caroline and Elena had like these full-on mental breakdowns, and I loved that, and Hope didn't, and I was just like devastated. I was like, she did have breakdowns before, but I wanted her to have like a full-on breakdown. I don't know why. That sounds really like awful, but I wanted her to be sad about Josie. I think that's it. So I think that the Michelsons are going to take her back. I thought that the Michelsons were going to take her back to New Orleans and help her adjust to having like her humanity on at the end of the season and like help her because they haven't been there. So then they'd have the series break and they'd help her off camera, and then they'd bring her back to Legacies bring her back to the school in the new season. I don't know.
So that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. My next episode should be New Music Friday, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'll be better on getting that out on Fridays from now after this week. I just forgot to listen to the new music
today, so I have to do that now. But yeah, thank you so much and have a great night or day. Bye.